Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 2, Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 330 Fighting Against Xuanhuan, 3 Springs Cultivator. 3rd of Volume 2. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Burial Immortal Town once housed over 10,000 residents, with thousands of houses arranged in a sprawling layout. Its proximity to the Death Spirit Mist domain made it a frequent target of eerie disturbances, gradually turning it into an abandoned ghost town. Most of the houses were dilapidated, with rotting doors, missing tiles, and earthen walls that could crumble with just a push. Only during the coffin retrieval season would the Julie tribes repair a few dozen houses at the town entrance for supplies and rest. But they dared not venture deeper into the town itself. Because a chilling rumor persisted, this was a cursed town. The residents hadn't simply moved away, they had all transformed into death spirits, emerging on every full moon night. By midday, the scorching sun blazed overhead. Li Ling, the Nether Light Guide, Li Songolin, the first commander of the Kandli tribe, and Kang Li, the eldest grandson of the clan leader, led the coffin-carrying procession up the narrow path of Dragon-Slaying Pass, gradually making their way toward Burial Immortal Town several miles away. Kang Li, a handsome youth of 18 or 19, rode a Zuwu, a mythical beast resembling a giant tiger. He held a 10-foot-long silver spear in his hand, his gaze fixed on the tranquil and serene Burial Immortal Town in the distance. Why is it so quiet? Where are our people? Fourth uncle, something's not right, he said, his keen senses detecting an anomaly. Li Songolin, perched atop a blue ox, raised his hand to signal the procession to halt. After a brief discussion, Kang Li mounted his Zuwu and shot forward like an arrow, racing ahead to investigate Burial Immortal Town. Damn it, they're too alert. It's all your fault. Why did you kill everyone? Why didn't you leave a few for show? Shi Jojai donned his Buddha head mask and berated his 3 disciples behind him. Then, with a thunderous roar, he commanded, attack. He had already leapt out of Burial Immortal Town like a cannonball, charging toward Kang Li, who was riding a beast. In the next instant, Burial Immortal Town erupted into a cacophony of killing. All the soldiers of the Earth Wolf King's army dressed in monks' robes, wielding various weapons, poured out from every street corner and alleyway. Many skilled warriors had already opened up magical power springs, allowing them to move with incredible speed. They charged into the coffin-carrying procession, immediately swinging their blades and slaughtering everyone in their path. The Buddha head masked guest stood gracefully atop the town's gate archway, playing a 2-foot-long bone flute. The flute's mournful melody, filled with longing and lament, echoed through the air. Enhanced by magical power, the sound waves spread for miles around. From the distant mountains, a chorus of dense, owl-like screeches erupted. Man-eating dusk bats, each measuring 2 or 3 meters long, emerged from the forest. Their bodies were pitch black and hairless, with grotesque human-like heads. Their broad, fleshy wings and razor-sharp claws made them formidable predators. As the battle raged in Burial Immortal Town, Li Wei and Xuanhuan seized the opportunity to escape. They fled through the reeds along the banks of the Shui River. Their original plan was to return to the Blood Sea and board the bronze ship. However, that area was now a battlefield between the two factions. They would have to wait until the fighting subsided before they could turn back. I'll never pick up random clothes again, Xuanhuan said, still shaken, I almost got myself killed. As they spoke, they were about to remove their monk robes. Suddenly, the sound of thunderous hooves erupted behind them, scattering countless water birds across the Shui River. A shout, like an explosion, echoed from far behind, stop them. Don't let them escape to call for reinforcements. Li Wei glanced back in a panic. He saw 2 deformed freaks, each nearly 3 meters tall and clad in brown monk robes, relentlessly pursuing 5 Kandli tribe members on sturdy steeds. They were only a few dozen meters away, closing in rapidly. Clearly, they had mistaken them for their own. Li Wei loathed the cruelty of the Earth Wolf King's army, but he had never considered interfering in such a slaughter. He simply lacked the power to intervene. Someone like Shi Jojai could kill him without even lifting a finger. Reason told him to mind his own business. Fleeing with Xuanhuan as quickly as possible was the only sensible course of action. Zhao Zhijuo and the other 4 Kandli tribe members, each riding a powerful steed, saw the 2 figures in monk robes ahead and felt their hearts sink. Despair filled their eyes. It was only after their first commander had fought his way through the enemy, sustaining grievous injuries, that they had managed to escape and seek help from the Kangli tribe, one of the Julie tribes closest to them. They carried the lives of 5,000 Kandli tribe members on their backs. Unexpectedly, the 2 figures in monk robes ahead stopped, glanced at them, and then fled even faster. Hope flared anew in Zhao Zhijuo's eyes. Swish! The sound of wind tearing through the air came from behind. An arrow flew past, killing one of the 5 Kandli tribe members. It was the deformed freak with the ape-like arms. He sprinted at incredible speed, wielding a spine bow weighing 200 jin, 100 pound, its arrows nearly 2 meters long. Each shot struck true, and he fired 3 in rapid succession. The other deformed freak resembled a giant chopstick. His legs were more than twice the length of his upper body, covered in dense fur, and his feet were hoof-like. He ran even faster than the sturdy horse Zhao Zhizhuo rode, which had drunk the blood of a Zhuwu beast. Catching up to the fourth Kandli tribe member, he leapt onto the horse, sinking his teeth into the man's neck and sucking blood with frenzied glee. In moments, only Zhao Zhizhuo remained alive of the 5 who had broken through the encirclement. The long-legged deformed freak tossed the blood-soaked Kandli tribe member aside and turned his gaze toward Zhao Zhizhuo. He glanced at Li Wei and Gao Huan in the distance, his face contorted with murderous intent. How dare you flee in the face of battle? You have great courage. Even if you escape to the ends of the earth, I will hunt you down and make you wish you had never been born. Li Wei, who had initially wanted to avoid this slaughter, heard these words and felt the last straw break. The scales in his heart tilted, and the thought that had been nagging at him finally overwhelmed his reason. Zhao Zhizhuo, a martial mystic cultivator with 2 open springs, was not a weakling, but his age had taken its toll. Wielding his long saber, he exchanged dozens of blows with the pursuing deformed freak before gradually falling behind. PFF'd. A 2-meter-long iron arrow, like a spear, shot through the air. Zhao Zhizhuo, relying on his hearing, dodged the vital points, but was still struck in the shoulder, tumbling from his sturdy warhorse. It's over. The 5,000 members of the Kandli tribe were doomed to perish here. Blood gushed from Zhao Zhizhuo's shoulder, the bone shattered, his arm rendered useless, and half his body numb with pain. Yet, he struggled to his feet, preparing for a final, desperate stand. Nowhere to run, right? Ha ha ha. The deformed freak was also a martial mystic cultivator with 2 open springs, but his mutation granted him a significant advantage in combat. His 2-meter-long right leg swept through the air, causing the air to vibrate and the surrounding vegetation within several meters to sway violently. This kick was powerful enough to sever even a tree trunk as thick as a bowl. Whoosh! Li Wei, a blur of motion, leapt from behind Zhao Zhizhuo. The yellow dragon sword trailed a golden arc of light. With a swoosh, a half-meter-long severed leg flew through the air, bathed in a spray of blood. Before the deformed freak could even scream, Li Wei had already leapt into the air. He slammed his knee into the monster's chest and struck the top of its head with his palm. Blood gushed from the freak's 7 orifices, and it collapsed dead in the muddy puddle. Zhao Zhizhuo stared in disbelief. He had assumed Kang Li's fate was sealed, yet the enemy had turned on itself. Hurry and fetch reinforcements. I'll hold him off. Li Wei's eyes remained fixed on the ape-like aberrant, who was pursuing them with his bow drawn. Zhao Zhizhuo realized this wasn't an internal conflict among the enemy. This young man was risking his life to save him, and by extension, the 5,000 members of the Kandli tribe. Why? That ape-like aberrant is a 3 springs martial mystic cultivator. Be careful, young friend. Zhao Zhizhuo knew the urgency of the situation. He offered this warning before struggling to mount his horse, his injured body barely able to support him. But just as he was about to climb on, Li Wei dove down from above. Swish! An iron arrow whistled past the horse's back, narrowly missing Zhao Zhizhuo. The ape-like aberrant knocked another arrow, crouched low, and advanced rapidly. His massive frame, long, muscular arms, and ape-like appearance made him a formidable opponent. His gaze was fixed on the dense reeds where they had fallen. Closer and closer. A sharp whistling sound pierced the air. A metal shard shot out from the reeds. Swish! As the ape-like aberrant fired an arrow toward the spot the shard had emerged from, its body nimbly dodged to the right. Before the ape-like aberrant could knock another arrow, Li Wei burst from the reeds, executing the yellow dragon ascending to heaven technique. He stepped 5 times in midair, then dove toward the creature. You traitor! You're courting death! The ape-like aberrant swung its palm-sized hand, slapping toward Li Wei. Li Wei formed the heaven-turning palm seal, channeling the cold and hot chi within his body into his silver silk gloves. Silver light surged from his palm, forming a 3-foot square seal that clashed head-on with the ape-like aberrant's strike. Before the clash, Li Wei had prepared to be injured. After all, his opponent was a 3 springs martial mystic cultivator, a realm above his own. Moreover, the creature's monstrous physique and raw physical strength were far beyond his capabilities. Bang! The ape-like aberrant staggered back 6 or 7 steps, its palm throbbing as if it were about to shatter. Li Wei was astonished. He realized the Kandli tribe elder's assessment was wrong. This ape-like aberrant couldn't possibly have opened 3 springs, it was likely only at 1 spring. If it's so weak, what's there to be afraid of? Kill. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.